So let's get started with the coil. I start with a ball of clay, and so I just take a little bit of clay, and this one's kind of big, and I'll just pull it apart, make a ball, and then make that ball into a little nugget, okay? And so you have something like that. Thank you, darling. Apron. And I'll go ahead and start rolling with two hands. Now, you got to keep an eye on your coil. And if you get a coil, can I see your coil real quick, Kiana? If you get a coil that's kind of flat on one side and rounded on the other, it's a nice size, but it's not good because you want it to all be round. So you take the coil and just go like this, boom, and now you can have your coil. And this is now a perfect coil. This is a good girth for the coil. It's rounded. Sometimes you want to keep your coil moist if you're not going to use it right away, or if you're going to make a twist, you can take your sponge like I'm doing here and just wet it. And you can lay it on or in your plastic bag. That prevents it from drying out, okay? There you go. So I'm going to rewind to my little, what I started, my little nugget that I started into a coil. And I'm just gonna roll. It's getting a little flat on one side, so I give it a little pat. And okay, and I have this coil. Okay, so I can use this one to add to my pot. But the first thing I want to do is use my needle tool and cut this at a little bit of an angle, a 45-degree angle. Okay, always remember to cut your angles every time. It makes it look much, much neater. And if I wanted to go ahead and add it to this pot, again, I have to hydrate the top a little. I want to go around to the comb with the comb a little, and I can add that extra coil. But I don't really want a pot that has boring, just horizontal lines everywhere. I want to get have a little fun with it. So I'm gonna make sure to get that water out of there. And instead of just adding this on there, I can do something more fun, and I can create some really excellent coils that I stagger together to make a rainbow. I can also make some appliques, okay? And remember, if you're making appliques, again, dust with the silicone applique makers. We have some really fun appliques, some frogs, some lizards. What are these guys called? Dragonflies, turtles, fishies, okay? And there's a lot more. There's hundreds of different shapes you can make. And you can make a whole row of like flowers, or you can just add like a little nugget of a flower here and there on your pot. But I made this rainbow. I made them all the same size, and all I did was roll coils and cut straight across. But there's something missing that I gotta do to the back side. What is that? Smear the back side. Okay. I have the flowers, and then I did this one. And I had a student that asked me, well, how did you make this shape that looks, this kind of reminds me of Dwali with the lights. What do you guys think? Okay. But it's like petals, or it could be like the sun. So all you do, if you want to make this shape or this shape, you take that same coil you just made, and I'll first start with the just a regular circle, and you just roll it, okay? And you smear right here. So they smear together. Then you take the back of it and you want to smear, okay? Or look at the most handsome side. Make sure you don't smear that side. And I'm not quite crazy about that little nugget right there. And I'll clean that up later. But I can smear, and before I smear, if I take the comb, does that make my life easier? Look up, folks. Is that even easier? Then smear with your finger, okay? It's your choice. And guys, right now it's optional to come over and watch. This will be up on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe when you watch it. Okay, but that's nice start there. And that's similar again to the one I have here, from the middle of my sun, or I guess it could be a flower. Okay, now if I want to make those like teardrop, like petals, I can take a little bit of a thinner coil. And if some students said they've made some really thin coils, you can still use those very thin coils to make your rosettes. Okay, so I'm going to thin out this one. I'm going to angle it, and I'm going to turn it backwards. And it's a little dry. So before I do any twisting, and I would always recommend to wet it. Okay, and I know I didn't on the last one because it was very, I just made it. But this one's been sitting out a little bit. And I'll just give it a little twist and then cut it off. And then I just take my finger and form kind of like that. And this one got a little bit too wet to do that, but let me do one more here. Twist. Okay. And then give it a little pinch and you get these nice little like tool or rosette shapes or petal shapes twists, or they got a little flame too. I was thinking like Dwali. So I have these. Can I just start applying this rainbow though now? What's wrong? What I have to do the back again?
Smear.
Smear. So I'll turn it around, and again I have to. It's easier for me to start with the comb first. I want to hold it in my hand because if I don't hold it in my hand, what's going to happen to what happens to that nice those nice rounded coils in the front? They'll get like flattened and they won't look very nice. So if you hold it in your hand, or if you lay down your towel on your lap, you can hold it in your lap and you could smear. Now I'm going to add a little bit of water because this has been sitting out for a while. If yours is nice and plastic, you won't need to do that. Okay. And now I'm going to use my a dampened, I dipped it in water, then I kind of wiped it on my apron, wooden modeling tool to get smearing, serious smearing, okay? Because if you don't smear, what's gonna happen to your coils later on down the road? If you do not smear, if you neglect the smearing part,
tea will fall out, or
you'll spill tea. I know you guys love spilling it, right? But you don't want grandma spilling tea in her lap, okay? And they'll warp in that this is firing in the kiln, the coils will start, pulling apart and your whole part can just fall apart, or you won't even get it to granny, okay? So you want to make sure that you smear really well and you kind of give it a little bit of a compression as well, okay? And you can smear more once it's on your pot, but isn't it easier to smear now than it would be to add it? Okay, go ahead, Eleanor.
Do I need to make the dirty earthworm after that?
Yes, yeah, well, you'll build up, let me see that one, darling. You'll build up 3 of these coils and then you'll add a reinforcement coil, then you smear. So Eleanor has 1 so far. She's starting her foundation. She'll need to have 3. That's a beautiful coil. Can I see that, Yahtzee? I'll show our YouTube audience. Yahtzee just made this beautiful coil. This is a perfect coil. It's getting a little stiff, so I would recommend where you just take it and add a little water to it, okay? And keep it like that, and you can start working with it, okay? Very good. Thank you, Yahtzee. Okay, so I want to show you guys. I'm going to go ahead and put this on my pot. Okay, and again, I hydrated the top, and I want you guys, my students at tables 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come on over. I want to show you this part. This is what you need. This isn't a review. This is new information. Okay, so I hydrated the top of this. You got to make sure to get the water out of the inside. Okay, I have my foundation built. I want to build up a wall. Okay, I made this rainbow. Okay, I smeared in the back, and now I'm going to score and slip here a little bit more. I'm looking because it's still a little, and I'm going to go in and score and slip here. And I'm going to add my rainbow wall. Did I just build like a significant part of my teapot?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and you can do that, okay? And I can pull this outwards now or later on, but right now the most important part is to smear. So it's more helpful probably to put this in your lap. It's smear, but I'm just gonna smear downwards right now. And could I add a reinforcement coil when you have a giant wall that you're adding to your foundation? You should probably make, and I always got the dirty little earthworm because it's a tiny, a little teeny tiny coil, and I always call it the dirty little earthworm. So it makes you remember that it's just supposed to be tiny. Okay, so I can even just go in and add little bits of clay. Ah, my hand's too wet to roll a coil. Okay, on the side. And just a little bit of clay to make a reinforcement coil there. And if I were going to add that really pretty like starburst or flower that I made, also do I need to score and slip that as well? On? Probably, right? Do I need to smear those pieces first? Yeah, so we get all that moisture out of there. Okay, now check out the other side of it, how it turned out. And you have part of your teapot built. Okay, so you don't have to build directly on the foundation. You can build, the foundation first and then start adding parts to it that you make. Okay, now I can even start adding, I could do a row of these flowers around here. And your pot may be asymmetrical at first. Today, you might only get to do this. If you want to bag it and you don't want it to collapse, you take a bag and you stuff it. Before you bag it, like what you stuff it with a bag. Does that make sense? So that it won't fall over. Okay, and even while you're building, could you do that? Yes, no, maybe so? Yeah, while you're building, to prevent it from collapsing. All right, so this is just one start of our teapot. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, thank you. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.